You will be sold out. Happy chilly morning, son. How y'all doing? This is John with Prepper Nation. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for hitting subscribe and smashing the thumbs up button. Truly appreciate that. So yeah, you will be sold out. There's a shocker, right? I'm going to tell you a story, and I'm going to start with the story. I haven't done that in a little while, but it does have to do with this morning's topic. So please stick around, okay? I'm not talking out of my head here. I'm going to make it make sense at some point. At least that's the plan. I hate magic shows. I despise magic shows. You know what I'm talking about? Where you go and they got the hat and they pulling the rabbit out and stuff like this. I've been to several in my lifetime. You know, even as an adult, I'm taking my kids. I used to love these things when I was a kid. You know, I would sit there, I'm enamored. I'm like, oh my God, they're pulling a freaking rabbit out of the hat. How is this? It usually, these shows, they involve like a buxom blonde, 20 something blonde, right? No C-sections to be had yet, right? And he's putting her in a box. The magician's putting her in a box, son. He's chained in the box. He's duct taping it. You know, she ain't getting out of this thing. And then he cuts the box in half. And as a little kid, you're sitting there like, oh God, what is he doing to this poor lady? And I don't know what it is, but you either grow older or wiser, or maybe it's not even an age thing or a wisdom thing. At some point, I don't know when it happened, you know, age-wise, but you start paying closer attention. You know what I mean? You start to try and figure out, okay, they're telling me this is magic, but how does it actually work? How can I make it make sense? And the more you study it, the more you watch the magician, you begin to see things. Now, maybe it's not even you. Maybe the magician that day, son, happens to be smoked up, or he's been drinking too much wild Irish rose. Perhaps his assistant sucks, or whatever the case may be. But the illusion is gone. The magic is gone. You begin to see the zippers and the strings and the false bottoms on things. You begin to understand how this stuff works. And at this moment, you're hating life because everybody around you, they're like, oh man, they're still enamored that he can pull that rabbit out of the hat. They're still like, oh my God, he's cutting the box in half. And you're sitting here trying to tell people, no, this is how it's actually being done. And nobody will listen. You know, you don't want to ruin it for your kiddos, but I mean, even adults, they just won't listen. And this is how I feel about politics in the United States. All right. Making that quick turn now to this morning's topic, you will be sold out. This is how I feel about politics in our country. As a younger voter, you know, 18, 20, 22, I wasn't paying attention. I see it, you know, back then it was mainstream media. You would turn on the nightly news. Well, Ross Perot said this, Clinton said this, blah, blah, blah. And you voted accordingly because you thought this is the structure. This is how it works. It's like a magic show, so to speak. But then as you get, again, I don't know if you get older, you get wiser, you just pay more attention, you begin to see how things actually work. And you realize, you know, it's just, at some point, it's a work. It's a work. It's a show. I know that's going to be an unpopular comment. People are going to say, don't you be telling people not to vote, John. Look, vote if you want to. Don't vote if you want to. That's your business. You're grown up, son. Do whatever you want to do. I'm not on here saying do vote, don't vote, but I'm just calling a spade this morning. It is pretty much a work. And this is how I feel about politics, again, here in the United States of America. We have a constitution. We're told from an early age, or I don't know if they're told anymore from an early age, but we used to in school, be told that, hey, we got a constitution. This is how it works. They would work, walk us through the process of the voting and stuff. We would have the fake elections. I know the irony, right? But we would have these in high school. They would bring a voting booth and they would walk you through the entire process right before you turned 18. They were getting you ready. They were getting you primed up. And you're told, well, you've got representation in Congress. This is how it works. Your congressman or woman is your voice in Congress, and they are there to serve you. We're told about checks and balances. Well, the president cannot be so powerful because we don't want them to damage the country. And Congress is there to make sure the president doesn't damage the country. And if something illegal is passed, the judicial system steps in, the Supreme Court, and they're there to make sure. I don't know. At some point, you take what you were taught and you throw it away, just like I did that piece of paper, right? And you begin to understand, again, that it's a work and the magic is gone. How does a country, and this is a question for live chat, replay crowd, whatever. How does a country that is actively being invaded at the southern border and some at the northern border, believe it or not, do nothing about the invasion? But then our representation not only does nothing about the invasion, but spends $95 billion on Israel and Ukraine. Most of that funding, by the way, is going to Ukraine, and that is on top of the $113 billion that we've already sent Ukraine. How would you spend that money? If you're Ukraine, look, how are you going to spend 60-some billion plus the 113? In a roundabout way, $200 billion when it's all said and done, because Joe's not pulling tax off of this like he is the average American. All things told, how would you spend that $200 billion if you're Z-Man in Ukraine? The better question, how have they already spent it? What do they have to show for, again, the $113 billion that we've already sent them? That's just the United States funding. They're gotten funding from other countries as well. What do they have to show for it? A few stripped down to the bone Abrams tanks? Some pallets of Aquafina, maybe? I mean, I don't understand what they have to show for it. Jackets, coats? Couldn't we have just had a major coat drive across this country? They're out of artillery, to hear them tell it. They're out of bullets. They're out of food. They're out of everything. This is why they needed, again, the $95 billion passed. So I got to thinking, what could we have done with that much money here in the United States of America? You know what I'm saying? $200 billion. The money we've already sent Ukraine and the money that we are now selling across to Ukraine. And again, like I said last week, this is not going to be the last funding package. Promise you that. Promise you that. Zelensky put out a statement on Twitter/X, whatever it is. I think it's X now officially. And he said, now Ukraine has a chance to win the war. I promise you, 3 to 6 months from now, he's going to be back over. I don't want to do this too much because I don't want to spill my coffee, son, but he's going to be over here. I better do it this way. Rattling the cup. I need more. Otherwise, Ukraine's going to fall. It's never ending. I just want to know where the money has went, right? But anyway, I digress. What could we have done, with this kind of money here in the United States of America? So AI is the thing now. Welcome to the age of AI, apparently. I went to, it was either Google or Bing. I don't remember. Whichever one has Copilot. It's a little side thing over on the right-hand side that you can't get rid of now. Because AI is it's going to replace all the search engines very soon. But I digress. The point is, I went over there and I'm typing in, what can America spend $200 billion on? What's our critical needs other than a southern border wall? $200 billion, we could have put 12 southern border walls. We could have dug a moat, a huge moat, a flaming moat, all the way across the border down south and put up a wall. But we didn't. What could we have spent this money on? So according to the AI, the co-pilot, we could have permanently for the rest of these people's lives offered free health care to every single American that is low income in this country. Every single one. All right. All of your homeless. If you have veterans that are low income, every single person that falls above the median household range, money range and income range, every single one could have had free health care for the rest of their life. Not illegals. Now, this is just American citizens. Can you imagine? Because over half of our country is considered, or right there at half of our country is considered below that line. Can you imagine? If you're out there right now struggling and you don't know how you're going to pay your insurance premiums or pay for the medicine you get every month, could have been free for the rest of your life. But the money went to Ukraine, right? We could have used this money to pay for free community college for every single active United States student. Every single one. Every single kid out there. People complain. We talked about this yesterday, and I get it. I get it. People should be on the hook for the loans they took out for student debt. This is why I pay on mine every month, son. But here's the thing. We wouldn't have to worry about student loan debt anymore because we could have used this money, and every kid in school right now, U.S. citizens, would have had the promise of it doesn't end after 12th grade. I can actually go and do something I want to do. Or technical school. They could have went and they could have learned a job skill or something like this. Instead of graduating, barely being able to read and write, and having to demand $20 an hour to work at McDonald's. Could have done this with the money. Let me see here. There were a bunch. I had to write them down. So, domestic manufacturing. According to the AI co-pilot, we could have been, if we would have invested $200 billion within our own country, after just a handful of years, we wouldn't need many imports. We could be doing everything here in the United States. All the medication we need from China, all of the, the chips that we're getting from South Korea, all of the other stuff that we're getting from Europe, we wouldn't need this stuff. We could go back to being an industrial powerhouse here in the United States, but they're not going to do that, right? Said fixed broadband across the United States, power, water, and waste. Basically the infrastructure. Minus some of the bridges and stuff, it would have paid for that completely. All right. This one I underlined because this one really stood out to me. We have given Ukraine more in funding than we have earmarked annually for all of our VA hospitals. So we have sent these people in Europe more money than we spend on our veterans at VA hospitals, literally. Literally. We could have doubled the amount of care or cut in half the amount of wait times that our veterans are having to deal with right now. If you're a veteran, you go to the VA hospital, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. We could have cut your cut times in half. Your care could have been twice as good. But we've got to pay for Ukraine, right? And yeah, that one really stuck out to me. So a lot of comments, see them here in the community, see them in other communities as well. Well, Trump will fix it. If Trump gets into the White House, no, Trump will not fix it. Very unpopular comment. I'm sorry to tell you, but somebody needs to tell you this morning, Trump is not going to be able to fix this. Why? Because you will be sold out. I don't think you're going to be sold out by Donald Trump. Please don't take that the wrong way. Me personally, I don't think Trump is part of the plan. I don't think he's compromised. But everybody else is. I can probably, the good folks in Congress that actually are trying to be patriots, I can count on a single hand. Federal judges across this country, the ones that are not compromised, I could probably count on a single hand. What kind of chance does Trump have, even if he gets into office, folks? Let's call it for what it is this morning. He would go in, he would sign a stack of executive orders. He would right the ship for a few years. And then the president behind him would come in, sign a stack of executive orders, and the ship goes back into this direction. It's unavoidable. He was trying to put up a wall down south. What did Biden do on day one? A couple of you pointed this out yesterday. Biden came right in and started tearing the wall down. Day one. The people that are corrupt, the people that continue to sell us out, they are not going to allow Trump to get this country, to get this house in order, so to speak. They're not going to allow a president to do that. They didn't allow JFK to do it. They didn't allow Nixon to do it. Research that. Soft coup. Research it. And that's the truth, folks. You will be sold out. You will continue time and again to be sold out. Believe in the magic show if you want to. Partake in it if you want to. But you will continue to be sold out. It's all a hustle. Why do we continue to be sold out? Well, that's this afternoon's topic. There will be a video dropping this afternoon as well. Some of you have said, John, I'm not getting notifications over here. If you're subscribed, if you've hit the bell icon, I don't know what else to tell you. You know, take 2 seconds, type in Prepper Nation in the search bar. I will make sure that the up-to-date content is on the front page once you get here. Okay, that's all I can do literally on my part. Thank you very much for listening. Y'all take care. God bless.